Zan out in feudal Rhode Island. Tripping on the Zan out in feudal Rhode Island. Tripping on the Zan out in feudal Rhode Island. Tripping on the Zan out in feudal Rhode Island. I was tripping. Off the Zanny, I was leaning. Love that codeine, I was smoking. On that OG, I was tripping. You know what niggas say, tripping.
What up? It's the Kid Passionate MC. You're now rocking with Rebel Life TV, and this is Rhode Island Rappers. Aliases! We have begun. Shall I begin? It's like the whole world trying to force me to fail. Aiming for the scorpion's head, but forgetting about his poisonous tail. Claws pinch harder than horse kicks, and all this venom excess the pen that I draw with. Entering the letter and I mark in with the accuracy of David's anatomy and Michelangelo's carving. When they all blends, when I'm on, they call quits. This nigga wasn't born with an off switch. Give a fuck what they all wish. I write what I write, fuck the type of an audience. Even when we on stage, they're ignoring shit. How you go to shows to not be a part of?
Alright, today on Rhode Island Rappers, we got Passionate MC. How you doing, man?
Real good, man. Real good.
Oh, dog. Glad to have you on the show, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Real talk.
Appreciate it, man. Alright, so let's get into this interview, man. How long have you been rapping for?
This October 15th will be 8 years.
8 years?
8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I started late, man. I dabbled a little bit in probably about the mid 2008, but it was around August where I went full fledged, and kind of started really getting in my mind. And October was just go time, man. We started building the studio and just, I was on it, on it.
So how'd you come up with your rap name?
Well, it's funny you say that because I had just told everybody my original rap names. Originally, it was K Styles. Then I was like, nah. And then I had a moniker called Hate It With Passion. And it was just like, it was a little wordy, It was HWP, and I was just like, I dabbled with it, but the passion was what really captivated my interest because of what it means. A lot of people, they don't understand the definition of the word of being passionate, and, they usually associate it to like, fruity shit or just, because America's very over-sexualized and, but really, passionate is very ardent, vehement, like fierce, frenzied, anger, violent. These are actual synonyms you could look up with the word. So it really was a full representation of who I am. But when I embodied the term, the word itself, I felt it should represent more than that, because hip-hop is a culture. So I feel like anybody who is in hip-hop or participating actively, they should be passionate about their craft and what they do, or else like, what the fuck you doing it for, man? Like, what you doing it for? You wasting your time. If you're not passionate about your craft, then you need to find something else to go do. So when I settled with passionate, I was sitting there and I'm like, damn, I gotta make this Googleable. So believe it or not, just by adding the MC, made it completely Googleable. Like any search engine you put it in, nothing came up. So it was just marketing at its finest.
Definitely.
A lot of people and it's controversial as well. People see passionate MC, they're like, the fuck? It's cool to use. What is that? It generates conversation or some interest, whether it's positive or negative. But either way, it's interest and it's moving in any direction, So it just worked. Stuck with it. Passionate MC. And then I'm here now,
No doubt. So, how long have you lived in Rhode Island for?
My whole life.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, probably since the beginning of time. I'm Native American, so I have ancestors who are from Rhode Island. It's literally as you can get to that. Just, my tribe, we're from Block Island. We're related related to the Narragansetts. I believe they were once Narragansetts who broke off and, colonized Block Island, but we're the Manassas tribe, so yeah, we go way back.
That's crazy. Rhode Island does have a lot of history, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Could you describe Rhode Island for the viewers?
Rhode Island, Rhode Island, it sounds cliche, but it's home. Like it's tough to put into a group of words because it's so small. It has that homely feel. You can go to I've been all around the country, but Rhode Island has that feeling like home because everything is so tight knit.
Yeah.
Your boy's cousin is the lead chef at one of your favorite restaurants, or your sister might be dating the guy who owns this club and that club. It's just home. Like everybody, in a sense, kind of got each other, but at the same time, there's also that room for separation as well. A lot of people associated with crabs in the bucket, but I think we're moving past that. Rhode Island's a beautiful place. A lot more than what it gets credit for. You look at our schools. We have some of the best art schools in the country. We have the best, I'd say, the best food in the country.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's knocking Rhode Island right now?
Why is Rhode Island being overlooked though in the rap game and shit? Like, you don't hear too much about Rhode Island rap.
Because you can't deny that. There's always been talent, but it takes a movement. It takes a collective. It takes a sense of camaraderie. Like you gotta have talent. You gotta have it there, but not necessarily in unison, but with the respect to say, "Yo, I got you." Let's get it. Now's that time. You look at the South. They just had that momentum which built. So I felt like we had sparks here and there throughout time, but the momentum never went full speed. It never went full force. It never took sight. And especially because we're right around Massachusetts, New York.
Yeah,
especially New York. It's tough. Yeah. So I think it gets overlooked mainly because we haven't reached that stage where we stood together completely. But I think now more than ever, it's coming. I think it's now. You look at the talent around here, there's no denying it.
Yeah.
There really isn't. And it's because a lot of the pioneers of Rhode Island hip hop, they created the establishment for the future talent to not only harness and take advantage of, but to just really push it to its full potential. So now you have a system where the OGs are still around. They laid down the groundwork for us. So salute to them, because I can do what I can do thanks to them, because without them, where do I go? Yeah. What circuit is there? There is none. So we're in a great position. We still got their backing, their connections, their roots. And then now you have new talent developing, especially in a time where the internet is really flourishing.
Definitely.
I would say out of control. The internet's out of control. It's going to settle in the near future because basically with the internet, ethics hasn't caught up. For instance, if I'm sitting here and he's sitting over there and I'm on my phone, ethics hasn't caught up to the point that it's just now that, all right, I'm being rude. So to speak, because it's so new and it's so fresh and introduced to society and how we work as human beings. So I think now more than ever, bro, it's set up for us, for Rhode Island to really boom, take off, bro. Just think about it, right, because there's so many different styles.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like when the fuck is that I laugh and top it. And then Ludacris and all those guys, like, boom. And even back when the West Coast had to come up, you know, with Raz Kass and Dr. Dre and NWA and all these guys, you know, when they came up, you know, because the New York movement is the start, New York's the origin. So I think every region, it's cyclical. It goes around.
Definitely. Which brings me into my next question. What's the Rhode Island sound right now? Like, what's it sounding like? The music scene.
It's
like.
There's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock anybody's style. Sometimes I do get a little interested in how it came about, mainly because of you know, what takes place around here sonically, but because of the internet and how easy it is to access other artists' music and maybe be influenced by it, I can understand certain sounds. You know, so you know, because there's some artists from Rhode Island that kind of sound like they from the South. Some artists, they sound like they got from West Coast. So, you know, it's a good mix. But I think it's in a good place. I would like to see Rhode Island, what I do, I want to see Rhode Island as the pinnacle of lyricism. I want to see Rhode Island shine there, because I feel like in hip hop there's a particular lack in it. You know, I'm not gonna bite my tongue about that shit anyway.
The fine arts right there.
Yeah, I think I want to see. It's my job. You know, this is me speaking for myself. Hopefully others feel the same particular way. But, you know, it's great to sound good with how you say it, but I think what you say is as important, if not more important. You know, the content, and I think that's what I envision for Rhode Island. I want Rhode Island to represent content, just what is being said, and being that powerful and that poignant and that potent, and just as soon as you hear an artist from Rhode Island, it's like every bar it's like watching URL or KOTD, every line's hitting, whether it's to the core or to the brain, like, you know, you stimulate it, man. Like, that's what I envision. I want Rhode Island sound to just, that core of that lyricism, man, its roots, back where it started, when you know, back in the early 70s, you know, when hip hop, you know what I mean? Like, just having that voice, because before hip hop just started with just sounds, DJing.
When did you realize that the music that you were putting out, you know, was being well received? You know, like, was it like what song or what video?
I was very fortunate, because even though I hated my first verse ever, it was well received. But as far as gaining attention, you know, this is way back in MySpace days. I can't. It's tough to contribute. You know what? I'll bring it to my first breakthrough. This was when I had developed a relationship with Canibus, and I met Canibus. I still remember the day. I believe it was August 22nd, 2008. This is when I was still trying to find what I want to do. But he looked at me. He was like, "Yo, you an MC." And I'm like, Canibus was like, he's still my favorite MC of all time. But at that point, like, you know, I was so young and just like a kid. I'm like 18 years old, and he's looking at me saying that. I'm like, shit, fuck, why? So we stayed in touch through a website, spitballs.com. So he had reached out, and he said, yo, I'll be in touch. Months passed, and I'm here. I'm training hard. By the time I heard from him, it was like mid 09, I believe. And I was at college at the time, and I was working at CVS, and then I got a message from him, and he was like, I need at least a 16. And I'm like, what? You know, Canibus saying at least a 16. This is a dude known for going for 100 of bars, like hundreds and hundreds of bars. So I'm just like, shit. I sat there, I was like, you know, I'm at work just fucking going nuts. Something I'm sitting there playing all these bars. Yo, I'm like, yo, I'm going crazy, bro. And then, I penned this verse. It was like 40 bars. I threw it to him. that was like the best I could do. Like that was everything. But that pressure brought me to a new level. So he heard it and he was like, yo, you killed it. He was like, yo, you anchoring the track. So after that track had gone out, it was on Melatonin Magic. That's what really solidified my spot as an underground MC, because not only did I represent myself very well, but it was to a different and completely global demographic. You know, the track went, you know, it was on YouTube, it was on iTunes, but you know, his album, you know, got sold. So it was like, it was all over. People, he has fans in Africa, he has fans all over the place. So they had access to what I did. And I think that was the point where when they heard that verse, they was like, yo. And you know, and he really gave me a lot of gems that I still hold on to, you know, throughout my time knowing him. And to this day, there's a lot of stuff in which he told me, you know, that I still, it gets me through the damn day, especially in this business, because it's crazy.
Shit, shout out Canibus, that's crazy.
Yeah, real talk. I feel like he don't get the respect he deserves, and I think one day he will. You know, there's always been just some sort of, it's like they try to hate dude for some reason. I never could understand why, because if you know him as a person, you know, he give you the shirt off his back. You know, he was never the type of person to be fucked up or just, you know, he just always, you know, you strike at him, you're gonna strike back, you know. But you should expect that though.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that they try to flip it on him, you know what I mean, especially with the LL shit. Canibus chewed LL, I don't care what nobody say. The whole Eminem shit was fucking retarded, because when Eminem had dropped his tracks against Canibus was in the military at the time. You know what I mean? He wasn't even in a position to even respond if he wanted to. And even after that point, he had matured so much as a person that when he got out the military, he wasn't even on it like that. You know what I mean? He was more on the grounds like, yo, dudes wanted to set up the that Fight Club shit, but you know, at that point in time, Eminem's like, you know, going through the roof, and I don't think they really wanted it with him like that at the point in time. So one day I feel like people will recognize his contribution, and he'll get that respect as a legend, because Canibus, he directly influenced my style. You know, I feel like I've taken bits and pieces, you know, through learning from him, and you know, I developed my own shape with it, of course, because I am myself now. But early on, it's just like, who was rapping like that? You know what I mean? With just such a caliber of information and just the way, the hunger. There was just like the rap version of Mike Tyson, bro. Like savage.
So what motivates you to keep making music right now? Like,
motivates me? I feel like there's a lot of people who need a hero, so to speak. It sounds corny, sounds cliche, but I genuinely feel that way. A lot of my motivation comes from the youth. There's a big importance I place on children, and because they're so malleable, they're so, you know, they're developing at such a rate where if they're not inspired, if they're not captivated, you know, at these stages of growth, then they become lost. They become detrimental to society. They start, you know, faltering. They don't reach their full potential. So I do what I do because I want to inspire them. I want them to it don't have to be through music. I want music, for me, is just a vessel. It's just a means to an end. Like, I don't, you know, it's not my end goal in life, but I use it in such a way to be a voice and to have a strong representation of being relentless, not giving up, but most importantly, being yourself. Because a lot of people used to just like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with this dude? You know what I mean? They used to be like, yo, what's up with this guy? He's a weirdo. What's up? You know what I mean? But I was always me. The way I dressed, the way I rapped, the way I performed, like, there was no way in the world they were going to say something that was going to change that. Because come on, man, I'm not fragile like that. You know, my mom didn't raise me like that. She didn't make the sacrifices she made in her life for me to come up to this point and just fall. You know, because of something somebody said. Hell nah. So it's really important for me to establish that connection with the future generations to come and you know, if I can't get the job done, I'll inspire the person who does. And that's just how I look at it. And that's what keeps me motivated.
Well, what was the first song that you ever put out?
Goes way back. This was the track that my boy had wanted me on. I'm not gonna say his name because I definitely, you know, don't want to put him on blast like that. He moved away from hip hop. You know, he's doing his other thing now. So basically, you know, this is where the peer pressure got me because he was like, "Yo, I want you on my albums, yo. Come through." Met up at my boy, shout out to Mike Harrison. We went up to his spot. You know, went up in the attic, had the studio set up real nice, and they had the beat playing. Everybody had laid their vocals down. I think there was only one other artist, maybe a couple other artists who had been working. But I was the last one, so I'm sitting there going nuts. You know, I had, you know, my influences at the time. I didn't know how I wanted to sound, what I wanted to write, how I wanted it to be delivered, man. I'm sitting there going crazy. It's hours, bro. I'm sitting there just going nuts because I'm like, yo, this shit gotta be hot. I'm talking like, when this comes out, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to blow up. I was already trying to blow up off my first verse. I had never even rapped before. And it was a disaster because the bars was there. The bars were always there. But I just could not rap. I couldn't stay on beat. Like, I was sitting there just... I remember being in the booth just like, I know how I wanted it sound in my head, but when I tried to rap it, I didn't even know how... Hearing my voice for the first time just sounded nuts. So I got the headphones on. I'm like, yo, what is... Yo, I was getting so frustrated. But I eventually got it out, and, you know, my boy, he worked magic on the editing program because he was on Pro Tools, and he started moving my verse so it was on beat and everything. And, you know, it had people talking, though. That my first verse on Crazy Mind, it had people talking. And because I was such a perfectionist, I was like, nah, yo, I can't go out like that, yo. I can't let that happen. You know, I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, nah, yo, I can't go out like that. So I started, like, training hard. You know, it didn't happen immediately. It took a while for, like, the track to finally come out, then the response and to settle in. So this was months. This was probably... probably around when it settled in, it was around the time I had met Canibus. So this is like, you know, late 08. So after meeting Canibus, that's when I fully locked into training mode. And but yeah, that was the first track, Crazy Mind, man. The first track, first verse I ever wrote. So I hear it now and I'm like, yo, it's so embarrassing.
Who are some of the artists that you worked with in your career so far?
Oh, I've worked with a lot. Damn. You mean like big names?
Yeah, like, I mean, it doesn't matter, big, small. It doesn't matter.
Like, you know, I started out, you know, I had some pretty good features with my, you know, group. We worked with Apathy at the time, Chief Kamachi, you know, these underground legends here. I've had the pleasure, you know, the legendary Canibus, K Reno. Who else have I worked with? There's so many people. Hobson, you know, it's like a brother to me. You know, I've worked with Flawless. There's so many artists I've worked with that, you know, the list goes on.
Could you talk about the importance of working out of state outside of Rhode Island?
It's very important. It's critical, really. It's critical because what happens is a lot of people, they get stuck in the loop. And I'm not gonna knock the promoters entirely. You know, I don't really believe into the whole pay to play stuff, but you know, they got their hustle, they got their business, they got to do what they got to do. I'm not gonna knock that, but a lot of people, they get stuck. You know, they're trying to build fans and hand to hand pushing tickets, and they get stuck in a loop. It just whoop. You got to break the cycle, and by breaking the cycle, you have to understand that it's bigger than just this little circuit of just trying to build fans of where you're from. There's nothing wrong with that, but with music, it's a beautiful thing, especially with the internet now. You can multitask. You can have your following locally and then be grinding on the internet and having fans pop up everywhere, whether you're using SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Snapchat right now is just crazy. I don't really mess with it that much, but I could definitely see how it would be an effective tool with just luring people in and building, you know, a relationship with your audience. It's very critical. So the most important step that's gonna get you out of state, you know, it's gonna really allow you to take off and flourish outside of your home base is quality. Quality is everything. Think about a Snickers bar. Why do you like it? Well, that shit tastes good. You ever have a bag of Skittles? That shit is good. They took time and they developed the quality of the product itself because, you know, it's going to sell. And then they go into the packaging and creating a track. It's just the same. Marketing is marketing no matter what it is. There's somebody who could sell you a bag of shit right now because he's just that good when it comes to packaging his product, marketing his product, talking the talk, walking the walk. And everything comes down to quality. So you take time and you develop that, it's going to spread. People are going to want to share it. You got to make them believe in what you have to offer. And then from there, it's going to go global. It might not happen right away, but if you keep chugging, you keep getting better, eventually you'll catch your break. And then from there, field day, man. You'll be getting booked left and right. I'm very fortunate enough where I could probably get a show in Africa right now, in India. I have a lot of supporters in India. Australia, you know, it takes time. It didn't happen overnight, but you have to just really take time and develop your craft and the quality of it and really push to get out of that circle. You don't want to get stuck in the loop, because if you do, you're going to get discouraged. You might quit. You know, you might say, fuck this, and then you turn into one of them haters and trying to destroy someone else's dream. You don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to push to really build and see somebody shine, whether it's you or if it's not you. 'Cause that's what matters most in the grand scheme of things.
Definitely dropping some gems.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to Rhode Island. Who's some of the artists that you listen to from Rhode Island?
I listen to Flawless. J Deuce got a bunch of tracks on my favorites on YouTube. I love Miles Grimes, Swan Nadi, Chachi. What's up? You know, because it's weird, and I don't want nobody to take offense to this, but believe it or not, I don't really listen to artists. I listen to artists who I won't be influenced by. I know that sounds weird. So I primarily listen to like a lot of the mainstream cats, and it's just out of like entertainment value. So I don't want people to feel like offended if I'm like, I shake their hand and I don't bump their shit. It's like I do when the time comes, but as far as a go-to, I listen to a lot of cats who really have no sway into what I might do. But as far as Rhode Island, James Gibbons is part of the crew right there. Sky Jones, Meta P. There's people who have tracks. It might not be 3, it might be 1 record, but it sticks with you. Rest in peace, 40 Dash. Rest in peace, 40 Dash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was one of the first cats to really catch my ear locally.
From Pawtucket, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I miss that dude. He was like a brother to me. The last time I had seen him in person was at the Met. I was just at the Met for the Budden show. But, it's crazy how time changes and time flies, man. And you got to really appreciate and cherish the moments you have amongst your fellow peers and your artists, because they're here one day and then they're going tomorrow, man. So he still got tracks, you know what I mean? Rest in peace, but he still got tracks in my playlist. 40 Dash.
Deep.
Rest in peace, T.
Who's someone that you see that's up next besides yourself and J Deuce?
It's gotta be Flawless.
Flawless too.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
gotta be because you know, trials and tribulations that I've seen the kid go through so much. It's like he's got to catch his break, and I think he did. Real talk. I'm not gonna go into details about everything. I let things unfold for themselves. But Flawless, he's gotta be. It's gotta be him. You know what I mean? It's you can, his catalog and his work ethic is so crazy. It's like it's very admirable for even from my stance. And I'm a competitor. Like just as much as I look up at him as my brother, at the same time, like it's like, yo, I'm coming for your spot too, and he's the same way with me because we push each other to succeed, and I think that competitive spirit is what brings the best out of the content and our I would say our duty to represent Rhode Island, because although I feel it is a privilege, but when you do have that privilege, like it's an obligation. Like you need to wear the pants. You need to, okay, this is the job, step up to the occasion. There's no tiptoeing, there's no nah, man. Like if you have the Rhode Island anchor on your back, like, you gotta fucking carry it. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. So he does a phenomenal job with that. Really, he's gotta be next. You know what I mean? If not, I you know what I mean, there's something wrong with the world. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as artists I see right now, he's definitely next.
Shout out Flawless, man. Hopefully
Yeah, real
I'm on
talk,
the show.
definitely.
I seen him perform at the Met the other night. Dude tore it up.
Yeah, always, because it's just the energy, man. It's the passion. Like you can't refute that. Once you experience it and you feel it, that connection is established. There's no escaping it. It don't matter if you listen to country. It don't matter if you listen to metal rock. You know, it don't matter if you listen to fucking opera. When the energy is real and the connection is established from man to man, man to woman, whatever the case is, you can't stop it. It's real. And from that point on, you're captivated, and it's just the energy. You might not even like the genre, but just the energy is so raw, so real, and so solidified that you can't stop it. It takes over you. You become swelled and almost consumed by it, to the point where shit, you fucking, hey, I don't listen to shit like that, but salute, my nigga. Like that's kind of the attitude it is. Really.
What are some videos that the viewers could check out after this interview?
I got a few videos, but at the same time, I had gone through a lot of things, and it's hindered my output. But you know, I got countless ciphers between, you know, the time that I did spend with Grind Mode and the time that I do have with Team Backpack, ciphers all over the place. You know, I have the I Promise You record. I think that really embodies who I am to a T. Like it's you want to find out what Passion MC is about, you listen to I Promise You. That's that record. But I have so much more in store right now. That you know what I mean. I'm always working to blow my previous work out the water.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean. It's just like you type in Passion MC anywhere, you'll find me. You know what I mean? Take your pick. That's how I feel about it.
All right, we're doing something different on the show, Rhode Island rappers. You know, we got viewers out here that want to know questions. You know, we got my man J2 Nice from Pawtucket. He wants to know if you could go in depth about Team Backpack and how it came about. You know, like
yeah. Shout out to my boy Gmo Ski. I saw a cipher with him. Shout out to Disaster. Like, this was back, I want to say 2000. It was either 10 or 11. I think it might have been 2011. And they bodied it, but it was in such a way that I'm like, yo, I want to be a part of this. So I had stayed hip and tuned as best as I could, you know, find what they were doing. And then it was around 2012 where they offered online auditions. So I submitted one. This was fresh after I was at the Canibus battle, like, so this was at a very like pivotal time for me, because after that situation had occurred, like I had a different hunger, like I felt like I needed to prove something to the world, and yo, the track, the video did very well. The beat was dope. I feel like I did my thing, and they really wanted me to come out to the Mission Underground event in LA at the time, but I couldn't afford it. I couldn't get down there. And then, I had people there like who actually made it to the event. They were like anticipating my arrival because I had gone to we had back in Rhode Island, we had Sunday Night Mics, Lingo ran that, and with the grind mode, and I was on it. This was back when I was in Proving Grounds training, working my way up. So I was so accustomed to just showing up to the mic and just snapping on them that like I was ready, because they set it up tournament style. Like once you pass auditions, it's like a tournament. You got to work your way up to get on the actual live cipher. So although I was very prepared for a situation like that, it didn't take place, and I kind of got bummed out a bit. And then, I stayed, with a lot of hope and faith. And one day I got an email from Team Backpack. This was like, poof. They had talked to me a little bit about it, the possibility, but, I take it for what it is, a possibility, might happen, might not. So I stuck in there. The next thing you know, I'm telling you, bam, got an email. This early in the morning. I don't know why I was up this early. I believe it was on a Saturday. I got an email. It's talking about, oh, we got a cipher. You want your shot? All right, be here in New York for 1 o'clock. And I'm like, man, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. So I jumped in my car, in the Silver Surfer, and I took off. I didn't even eat breakfast. I don't even think I took a piss. Like, I just was on it. Like, I was hungry. But I didn't have anything prepared for it. Because the way I am is I take everything at a time. And don't get me wrong, I had a whole bunch of material, but for Team Backpack, I wanted something fresh and exclusive for them. So I had some ideas playing. They had the beat for me. I had a few ideas, but dealing with New York traffic, I couldn't really get anything down concrete. So when I landed, they're like, yo, you ready? So I'm like, shit. Mind you, I had my hand in a cast. I had broken my right hand. So I'm in a sling. They think I'm crippled, because I was. But, I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn. And we had to go all the way around the building. Then I had to basically pull some Assassin's Creed moves. I had to climb up the motherfuckers. There's a ladder, like a fire escape, climbing on the roof, and I had to jump over and then, with one arm. So at this point, I'm like, yo, I get on top. It's hot as hell, man. When we was down by the street, it was kind of cool, but when you're on the rooftop in New York, it's hot. So I'm sitting there like, damn, how am I supposed to get this done? Like, I'm so out of whack, out of focus. But man, I believed, and they believed in me too. And I wouldn't say nervous, but I was having doubts, because I'm like, yo, everything was against me. Every possible variable. I was tired. I was hungry, crippled. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had nothing prepared. So basically, I had like a couple punchlines that I thought of on the way there, and I had to sew it all together, off the top freestyle. So when the beat came on, it was just like I had to just, shout outs to Eminem, dog. I had to just lose myself, man. In the moment, you own it. So that was that moment where I really had to prove myself. I got lucky. I didn't have to, go through the tournament. They gave me my shot because the demand was so real. So many people wanted Passion MC with a Team Backpack Cypher, and they just gave it to me, and I had no choice but to step up to the plate. And not only that, but represent Rhode Island. And it was just such a beautiful moment for me, because when it came out, you saw Cranston, Rhode Island in the subtext next to my name. And that's never happened to me before. I always did that. When my videos, when I drop an official video, I put Cranston Rhode, because that's where I'm from. People like, yo, you represent Cranston, yo, that's Coney B. But that's where I'm from, man. And I think Cranston is a beautiful city, and I represent them 100%. I could have come from Kansas. I would have still represented. You know what I mean? It's just, you got to represent who you're from and your people. So that's how I went about it. So when everything came together, and I did my thing with the cipher, that propelled me to a whole new respect and fellowship with Team Backpack, because they're such a great group of guys very smart thinkers. They care about the culture. They want to push the envelope forward with bridging all gaps. They want to, you know, I can't even say they want to because they've already created a global network of MCs, such talent. So many people have been discovered. So many people found out about me through them. So, you know, I owe them so much. Salute to Team Backpack. You know, it's always an honor to work with them, no matter how much pressure's on, because this is one take, man. Like, you fuck up, and I'm always there trying to keep that shit right.
Shout out Team Backpack, man.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question from the viewers. My man Joey from Pawtucket, man. He got a question. Everybody sees the connection with the Assassin's Creed. My man wants to know, is that part of the image? What's going on? Like,
I get that a lot, man. And but believe it or not, it had nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. You know, I hadn't played or really been introduced to the franchise. I want to say till 2013, but what drew the inspiration as far as, you know, the assassin, which had developed into the lyrical assassin, was I don't know if you ever heard Rap Superstar. Would be real. So you wanna be your rap superstar?
Yeah.
You know, probably it's after the first verse through the second break, while they got Eminem and Nori talking. In the background of the beat, you'll hear assassin, assassin. So how that track captivated me, like I just, you know, coming up as a kid, this always been one of my favorite rap tracks ever. Shouts to Be Real, you know, I met him in LA recently, and that track influenced the whole assassin ordeal. And when I was starting off, it developed into, like, you know, the lyrical assassin. So from there, you know, it's all part of, you know, the image I wanted to create, because I never wanted people wonder if I had on some sort of name brands or I had Jordans on, because that's just not me. You know, so I wanted to be like that dude, like when you see me in the cipher, you can't even see my face. You just, all you know is that I'm just ripping it right now. And I just wanted to be like that cat that just kind of like popped out of nowhere and just like fucked the cipher up and had people like going nuts, like, yo, who is that dude? Where he come from? Like an assassin, really stealthy. And it's kind of how I move as a person and a human being. You know, I like to be in and out. And over time, it developed more and more, because I would play around with the fans a bit. You know, sometimes I had videos where I'm like a Jedi or Sith or so on and so forth. I always wanted them to keep on their toes, but a lot of it is rooted from the Rap Superstar track, which the assassin and my firm belief in connection to that concept. And I just developed it over time. When people see the gloves, you know I mean business. You know, a lot of people, you know, Eazy-E, but Rocky Balboa probably hit, you know, the nail on the head for me with the gloves, man. Because you ever watched the Rocky franchise? Yo, Adrian, he's got the leather jacket, the gloves. So I just thought it would be unique. As soon as they see me, they know I mean business. The cut-off sleeves, I used to have sleeves, but then there came a point where I felt like my skills developed even further than before. So I sat back and I'm like, yo, I need something. And so I'm like, you know what, fucking cut the sleeves off. Because this was at a time before sleeveless hoodies were even popping. So I used to eat a lot of shit. People used to be like, yo, B, where's your sleeves at though? Who rocks a hoodie with no sleeves? That don't even make sense. But it was me, man. Like, you ain't gonna change me because how you feel about it. So I stuck with it, and it just developed more and more because I felt like I wanted, as soon as people to see me, I wanted them to be asking questions. I want them to be curious. So I just stayed on it. You know, because if you go through my previous works, you'll see the image slowly but surely develop more and more until now it's at a point where it's like, you know, you can't deny it. As soon as you see me, it's like when Clark Kent goes in the booth and he comes out with the cape and suit on, you know, it's a uniform. As soon as you see me, you know what's up. Just like if you see a police officer in uniform or fireman, like, you know, it's all business. And that's how I treat it, man. Like, I'm not here to be friends with anybody or nothing. When you see me, you came and took your time out of your day to support Passion MC, so that's what I'm gonna give you. It's all business, man. Just straight up, boom, that connection, that passion, and that real shit, man. That assassin shit.
Look out for my guy, man. Passion MC, man. Killing these ciphers out here.
Really, really, really the cipher god.
Yeah. Aliases, bro.
Yeah, man. The aliases, man. It just
We got the.
Can you shoot out the alias?
Yeah, go ahead. Hit him with all 5.
All 5.
He said no.
It was Passion, Passionate MC, Passion, the lyrical assassin, the Rhode Island flow tyrant. Canibus called me the verse killer. But really, the way that I came up was through ciphers, because that was the only way I felt that I could keep an old school style come up in the new age. Because I the internet's cool and stuff, but there came a point where I said, yo, I got to take it back to the roots. And that's when I started showing up to any open mic, any cipher I seen, I just hopped in it. It could have been on the block, in front of a school. Like, I was on it. And because I felt like no matter if people thought I had the best verse or not, I had genuine crowd reaction. I genuinely pushed to stand out. And I believe, like, that's what, what garnered the whole cipher god, name. It just
definitely earned that.
Cipher God, you know what I mean? It's like I built so much off of a cipher that it's just like, it just only makes sense at that point.
I was gonna ask you if you have any last words, but my guy Joey from Pawtucket wants to know if you could spit that Assassin's freestyle, man.
Did it say that line?
The grind mode.
Oh, I said that's a classic. You're not as fast as me. It's passion's need just to have him seize, gash and bleed when I stab and leave like Assassin's Creed. I always like having fun being animated with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very visual, so I like to just, draw from, because everything that I spit about, it comes from a real place, whether it actually took place or not. It's just how I embody my creativity. So stuff like that, I like painting a vivid visual. I'm like a movie director, but just with words.
No doubt, man. Shit, man, it was a pleasure having you on the show, man.
No problem. It was a pleasure working with y'all.
Definitely, man.
Salute.
Appreciate it.
Shout out to everybody doing your thing. Thank you for tuning in. It's Passion the MC, Cipher God.
Signing out, Rebel Wave TV.
Yeah. What up? It's Passionate MC, man. Look. Yo. While they talk about these up-and-coming rappers who practice to be the masters of the ceremony with classics, I ask this: who kept it raw for y'all with the force to crush through walls like Gorbachev to break boundaries? Niggas sound asleep, give the crown to me. Flow turning these bars to gold like alchemy. They got these niggas out for me. They say they wanna climb to the top. I let them do it just to throw them off the balcony. Got Ben sick, this is vengeance. Tired of bodies that fell to a barbell on both ends just to deadlift. Now that's a workout routine of a true fiend. Have you seen shots in your mind like a hoop dream? And I ain't taking a handgun, I am one. Cranston, that's the only city I am from. When I sing, it's like the national anthem. Cause you see tops getting removed when they start lifting their hands up. Yo, it's about time to bring the game back. Still all these whack rappers out here, but now I know where to aim at. So fuck sending them threats, I'm killing the rest. Splitting the flesh for blood like insulin test the prick. Sick fuck like intimate sex with a chick that's giving the yes, the shit on her breast, but really needs a big man for a breath. Cause the scent of the checks that's hitting you next, the ticket to death. I'm too crazy with it. An angry spirit with no basic limits, rearranging the face of physics to make a hateful image. I hate you critics saying dumb down, when I left more dumbfound than kids playing hide and go seek after leaving the seats of their special land bus rounds. I bust clowns, lifting official arms like touchdowns. I burn my stripes, curse my life. The words I write could probably turn the church on Christ is backwards. And I'm strapped to kill rappers, got the onyx face popping straight, giving bigger shells than a pasta plate. Fuck that, send them bigger shells to where the ostrich lays, cause the time for it's guaranteed like holidays. And I'm twice as lethal when niggas disbelieve in me. So if you wish to face the cipher god, it won't be for free. Nah, there's a price to pay to feel the wrath from him. Popping more clicks than the native language of Africa.
Africans, dropping whole teams, stop at no thing. Music and lights, our lanes bright like rockin' bowl leagues. It's Rocky boxing, Apollo Creed. You'll see shots lead to a body. That's the hockey goalie. Oh please, I'm going off till there's nothing left to focus on. Air clips, more squares lit than a solar farm. So get it clear, what I tuck's not wedding wear. It'll push bucks through your gut like pregnant deer. Stress appears, spreading fear when the end is near. Round split in twos for you to have like hemispheres. Come on, man. Let's go. Passionate MC. Thank you. Peace.